Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me, bless his holy name.
Hi, thanks for tuning in to Armor of God again. And as always, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us. And hopefully all of you will learn something from this video. Now, I love it when there are real-life examples that I can use to drive home some of the things shared by the exorcists before. And as it's not only the Catholics watching the videos here, there are a lot of non-Catholics too. And then a lot of non-believers as well, so I think is really a good opportunity to share and talk about our Catholic faith. At least that's how I see it. So recently, Tucker did an interview, and don't worry, I'm not talking about any politics here. What I'd like to do here in this video is to share the explanations from two different priests. One is from my interview with the exorcist from the Philippines before, Father Winston, and the other one is a very short clip of Monsignor Rossetti when he talked about it during one of his public lectures. I'll share you the clip of Tucker where he talks about his experience with the demonic scratches, and then I'll follow it up with the two priests. And you can watch the whole thing in full on the website. I left a link to the website down in the description box below.
In my bed at night, and I got attacked while I was asleep with my wife and 4 dogs in the bed and mauled. Yeah, by a demon, or by something unseen that left claw marks on my sides. Oh, they're still there. I was totally confused. I woke up and I couldn't breathe, and I thought I was gonna suffocate, and I walked around outside, and then I walked in, and my wife and dogs had not woken up, and they're very light sleepers. And then I had these terrible pains on my rib cage and on my shoulder, and I was just in my boxer shorts, and I went and flipped on the light in the bathroom, and I had 4 claw marks on either side underneath my arms and on my left shoulder, and they're bleeding. And I sleep on my side, so I wasn't clawing myself. I don't have long nails. And they didn't fit my hands anyway. But yeah, that happened. So I'm not from a world where things like that happen. I never heard of anything like that happening before. I had no idea what that was. I knew it was spiritual immediately.
And then compare what he just said in that clip with what Monsignor Rossetti said here in this clip during one of his public lectures before.
Sometimes people, the demonic scratches. You wake up in the morning and all of a sudden there's this, demonic scratches. One possessed woman woke up with these. Can you see it on her back? Like, as someone said, it looked like a beast raked his claws across her back. That's exactly what happened. A demonic claw went right down her back. And then she didn't feel it. She woke up, never felt it, and then it disappeared in 2 or 3 days. That's impossible. It's preternatural.
And here now is Father Winston's explanation.
The scratches, that is what we call now, oftentimes, those are signs of oppression, attacks on the body. Okay? So scratches in any part of the body where the person is unaware. When he wakes up, he finds scratches on himself or herself. Now, I am assuming what you're saying is that the person does not scratch himself unaware, no? Because that is a possibility that you scratch yourself unaware, thinking, and then you wake up thinking that it is somebody else. So if you find that you have a scratch at your back and you can never reach your back, so you can assume that you had this.
But here's the interesting part about that interview. It's not really about the scratches, because we've covered about the demonic scratches many times before. But for me personally, it's really the part in the interview where that attack ultimately led Tucker to buy a Bible and read it for the first time ever. And that to me is the best part of the interview. Do you remember in our previous video where I shared the clip of Father Joseph Iannuzzi when he said the demons wouldn't leave during an exorcism? I know he's not talking about the scratches in the clip, but still it's somehow relatable.
Now, this is something I want to share with you. This past week, I did an exorcism, and the demons wouldn't leave. And they kept saying, we can't leave. And this perplexed me. I said, why can't they leave? And they meant it. It wasn't like they were tricking me. They really can't leave. And the reason is because God's not allowing them. Sometimes this is the case with exorcisms. Just like Padre Pio was not responsible for the demons attacking him. But God permitted it so that through his sufferings he would save souls. Sometimes this happens with people too that are infested with demons. Not all demons come to people due to their own fault. Most of the time they do. But there are a few cases, rare cases, where due to no fault of their own, God allows the demons to harass them to increase their sanctity and save souls. And that was the case with this person I was exorcising this past week. So knowing that they can't leave, I won't fret over it, you see. But what I will do is I don't just say, okay, they can't leave, so I give up. No, you don't give up. You still have to combat them.
Before we get to the end of this video, for the past couple of days, I've released videos urging people to respect our priests, to pray for them, and talking about people attacking holy priests like Father Vincent Lampert. And I also shared that clip of Father Rehill talking about how they struggled sometimes in their vocations, and where he also talked a little bit about how some good priests were also hated and insulted by the public on the aftermath of the Boston child abuse scandal. And honestly, while making this video, I suddenly remember that interview I did with Father Joshua Waltz before, and I asked him about it as well. I suppose it doesn't hurt to share that clip here again.
You know, in our diocese, it's not as bad. We have a really good diocese, good Catholics, good families. I think probably the biggest thing is, like, number one, we're just, most of us, almost none of us did any of this stuff, right? This was before our times, generation before us, and now we get to suffer it, right? We get to try to, win the faithful back and win that trust back that has been lost. And yeah, I mean, I've been called a pedophile. I've been somebody spit in my face when I was over in Rome because of it, called me a pedophile. Like sitting there, and I'm like, dude, I didn't do anything. Why are you pissed at me? I didn't do anything. But like, there's got to be reparation for what has happened. And it was so absolutely demonic and wicked. I mean, I have a school, right? And like, if I'm having a bad day, I just go over to Children's House, the pre-K, and I'm like a superhero, man. They just want to all give me a hug, and I get to do works with them. I play recess with them, and you look at that and you're like, how could you possibly do something to somebody so innocent and so loving? So it's horrifically demonic. But the devil's real, man. And Judas was, he was in the 12 apostles. He's a bad dude. 1 out of 12, that's something like 7%. So if you look at the priesthood, 7%, yeah, maybe 7% have fallen into the lie that Judas fell into. But I just try to model good, healthy relationships with young people. I just went. It was kind of. I was like, I actually kind of had this. It's interesting. So my goddaughter, Veronica, love her to death. She's such a sweetheart, and gives me a hug after mass every single Sunday. And I go to as many things as I can. She sings in my choir, and she had a swim meet and invited me to the swim meet. And I got out of the car, and as I was walking to the swim meet, I'm like, what is this going to look like? Because this is like, it's kids that are from 8 years old to probably high school. It's boys and girls, and they're swimming, and a priest is walking into that. And like, I'm like, whatever, I was like, you can't live in fear. So I walked in, and man, I came in and everybody's like, Father, I can't believe you came to this. Like, a priest has never come to this. And I'm like, well, my goddaughter's swimming. And then all of a sudden I'm like, and I know him and her and her and him and her and him. And I know all these families, and everybody's like, and then all the kids are coming over, and they're like, you came to our swim meet. And I'm like, yeah. And like, just had a blast, like had an absolute blast. And so we can't live in that fear. Like, I know who I am, and I love children. One of the greatest sacrifices of my life was giving up the chance to be a natural father. But the amount of spiritual children I have, it's unbelievable. It's hundreds, maybe thousands at this point. And so, yeah, it sucks, but somebody's got to suffer it. And I guess our generation has been chosen. So,
well then, that will be all for the video this time. And as always, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us, and hopefully all of you have learned something from this video. And remember, if you have any suggestion or feedback, please let us know in the comments below. And if you'd like to support us, and we greatly appreciate your support, I left a link to our PayPal donation in the description box below, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for everything. Until the next one, thanks again for watching, and may God bless you.